I can't see anything because of this fucking pop-up. Alright, everybody says we're live. I'll just assume we're good. We're good. No problems. Alright. So, yeah. We're here. Let me turn my cam on. Camera up. You can see my hair's a little disheveled. I don't know how the volume is either. But, we'll figure that out. My mic stand busted on the move, so I gotta fix it or get a new one. And I'm not sure what's gonna be what. Hold on. I'm trying to buff out some scratches on the monitor, which I'm not a big fan of, to be honest, but I don't think it's possible to fix. Just have to get a new one sometime. They're not that noticeable. Famous last words, of course. How's the lighting? I think I need some more light. I kind of need more light over here. I guess I can just do this, right? That sort of helps that angle. Whatever, it's fine for now. What the fuck? What the heck? Technical difficulties, ladies and gentlemen. Hey, wake up.
Oh boy, pizza.
What the fuck? Why is the microphone fucked? I mean the webcam. Hold on. Maybe I just have to reinitialize it. There we go. Just turned itself off for some reason. And it's it's broken again. Alright, bye. Okay. What's up, DF? Dude, you're the first person to come into this stream after I moved. Congratulations. Well, the first person who said anything. You're not showing up on the stream chat, but I have you pulled up anyway. I was going to show you guys around the new room, but my webcam is not complying. So I'll look into that later. I just spent the first like 10 minutes of the stream trying to fix audio issues and shit. But I think we're here. At some point I gotta rebind Mixer to restream again, which is great. I wonder if that's a deliberate thing that they do. I wouldn't put it past them. Here, hold on. The audio quality is triggering me. My mic stand is not functional anymore, but I don't really know where to put the mic. Good old mic. I don't know where to put it. Now, I feel like this is a little bit better, but it might be worse. And also, if I type anything, you guys are going to hear it epic. Honestly, that's not that different than the normal stuff, I don't think. So maybe it's fine. Well, we'll try that. I guess I could try to lean it up against something, but that probably wouldn't work out very well. That way it's not like, I don't know. I don't like that. It could just break. I think we'll leave it the way it was just then. All right, webcam, keyboard, microphone, keyboard mic. Yeah, you don't see me typing, Alexander, but you can hear it. I'm glad you're using Twitch, because I wasn't sure if the Twitch chat was even working. Seems to be working. So, Alexander, you're the second chatter to interact with me in my new house. DF beat you to the punch, so you got punched, but I hope you're having a good time. Don't worry about the microphone being shit. We'll fix it, hopefully, for the next stream. Hopefully I can fix that tonight before I go to bed. But we will see. Anyway, now that we've taken care of some technical issues, I can fill this out. Hold on. I did that. I think Scarlett's taking care of. I did that, but he also needs to get his expansion. I think Ultramarine's fine. I didn't rewrite Zaz's priorities, so I guess I should do that. I did rewrite the attacks for... Oh no, I don't even think I did that. But I don't even think that's necessary. I just have to figure out what's wrong with their priorities. And yeah. Okay. New place is good. I mean, it's not really... It's only new to me. It's just another family house. But it's considerably better. For one, it has a working toilet. That's cool. For another, the roommates, my housemates here, are significantly more tolerable than the ones in the other place. You know? So, happy about that. It's going to be a little bit more expensive. Like, rent here is going to be pricier than what I was paying before, but that's okay. I can manage that. Just means I'll have to sell out on my stream. No, I'll have to spend more time fucking around with some other freelance work, or just start working on like an actual part-time job at retail somewhere for a while until I finish my driver's shit and start getting road ready. Then I can just like deliver packages or whatever when I'm not doing this junk. Yeah, I mean, I'm supposed to be. Like, they haven't come to me and said that they wanted to go with somebody else. I think they're just taking a long break from it because 2 weeks ago we didn't have any content because that was like the second to last week of the Mapperino development. So I think the third week of November, or no, maybe that would have been. I don't remember when it happened. The week that we finished Mapperino development, which was, I think, the third week of November, we had already not done a full week of content by that point. That was because the guy left, one of the main guys left for an event, a Counter-Strike event, to do analysis. Then the next week, he was at that event still, and eventually he got back, I think the final week of November, the fourth week, which was after Stormborn had finished development. And he just said that he was going to take the week off, basically, as far as I could tell. And now we're here in this week. So I think this is going to be the third week where at least there's no plans. Nothing has been communicated to me that we have any plans to change anything. So, but that's the thing, though. Is like, I don't know if they're just taking a really long break and they're going to come back later and we're going to keep doing it. They haven't told me anything. What he did say was he would let me know when he needs, or when we're going to do some more content. He did say that, but I don't know what the fuck that means. So he might just never talk to me again because we're never doing content again. I don't know. Time will tell. But yes, ostensibly I'm still doing that. I'm certainly still getting paid for this coming month whenever the Patreon stuff gets cashed out. I'll get my $20 or whatever it is. And then other than that, not a whole lot. I think I'm still owed like 40 or something from the YouTube ad revenue we have never cashed out yet, so we got to do that at some point. Well, I was gonna look for some socks, but I can't find any. I moved so much shit today. Oh, no. I'm talking about the CSGO videos. I don't have AdSense on my, I don't have an AdSense account anymore. I deleted it a while ago, like a year and a half ago, I think. I appreciate the gesture, but I think ads ruin the fucking internet, to be honest with you, so I don't want to be part of that problem. I think if I was able to make this a, like the mod streams and the gameplay streams that I do, if I was going to make that like a stable business, it would be through, I guess, sponsorships, but even those are kind of advertisements. At least, like, they're honest, though. And they're shit that I wouldn't ever get in bed with a company sponsorship-wise that I didn't find useful and think other people should also find useful. Like, you know, G Fuel or something like that. I actually find that useful for my productivity, and people who might be interested in it, it's healthier than a lot of the other shit that's out there on the market, so maybe that would be helpful. Like, I could see an argument where I could make that real sponsorship that would feel more honest. Whereas everything else is just like a joke, to be honest. But yeah, outside of sponsorships maybe, which would only come after a certain amount of viewers anyway, it would just be direct donations. Like, and my content, making content on stream is not really something that people would sign up for to donate a lot of money to. So I don't think it's really that big of a deal. Alright, so what are we going to be doing today? I am going to try to get some AI scripting done, but I kind of wanted to focus a little bit more on that faction sheet that I worked on stream yesterday. So, for those of you guys who missed it, I did end up last night filling in the Protoss stuff. There's actually more Protoss than I thought. I actually thought, for Protoss, we would see... Oh, thanks, Alexander. Well, I know it's pretty late. Thank you for popping in and greeting me, helping me to on our maiden voyage here in the new house. I'll probably be seeing you tomorrow morning when I go back to the normal schedule, assuming that can happen. So hope you have a good time. So the main protest that I thought was going to happen here, I thought there was going to be Executor, Artanis, Phoenix, Tassadar, Zeratul, and Alderus. Those are 6, right? Those are the 6 characters. And then I didn't know what other factions were going to be there. I knew Ultramarine was not going to be led by a canon character, Ultramarine, the mech Protoss, that tag teams with Tassadar. And I thought that maybe there was going to be a second faction for the Dark Templar, and I knew that there was definitely going to be a Temple Guard type Protoss in the final Zerg mission, and that they might poke their heads in elsewhere, like during the Homeland mission, you could have them show up. But I'm actually not sure how that's going to go down. I think I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. But like as far as the appearances here go, like I think the appearances are sort of I don't know for sure if that's going to happen yet. Like for all the appearances, but I ended up fleshing out all of those other characters. Ultor is the name of a Protoss that was going to be in Xibalba a long time ago. Before it was Resilience Rising was the project name for that. Long time ago, like 2011 is when I came up with that guy, along with Alganor. But Alganor is going to be in Xibalba for sure, and I don't know if Ultor is. So I just threw them here. I might change the name to somebody who's not going to be part of that, so it doesn't feel like I'm inserting my own fanfiction shit. And Asalamir is equally a name like that. Not from Xibalba, though. It's from a project called Deliverance. So he's definitely, like, that's probably a placeholder name. Because, it's going to be like an original project that I'll make at some point. Or original with air quotes. So I don't know how much sense it makes to include that here. Whereas Coronul was created for this particular project, just to have another Protoss Dark Templar leader. Similar to all of the characters, like, Tony Toninsky up here, and fucking Tom Ratchet, and George Randall, and Eritreus, which is an AI, and Tulgroth and Liragor. These are all... I'm not going to make projects with these characters in them, so they're just going to be, like, basically a new supporting cast to flesh out the factions that we're going to see. So fairly basic stuff there. But I figure I can start by denoting the... where do we have... I also had to make a correction to, I think, the magistrate. And just say TO1 to TO3 there. That's a little bit more friendly as far as the formatting is concerned. I don't know if Toninsky is reasonable or not. I'll have to wait and see. But... yeah, that's fine. They really don't like that Maya doesn't have a capital M. Anyway, I just want to fill in the personalities and stuff for the characters that are the AI that are in here. Be a nice simple way to do that. So we can start with Scarlet, which again is all the way up here. It's Omega Squadron. SMH. Holy typing, that's loud. Typing stream. They got a change in the track here soon, but this is almost over, so I'll just let it play out for now. Alright, so. Put that over there. How would I like to describe? Let's see. Was thinking of maybe renaming the Confederacy as well to something that wasn't retarded and something that actually fit, considering the Confederacy is not a confederacy, or maybe presenting them out to be a bit more like a confederacy. But that's going a little too deep. I don't think it's really that important. The Confederacy is just a stepping stone to the Dominion anyway, so it's only useful or important for about like a couple missions, pretty much. There are two S's. Of course, there's two S's in reconnaissance. Okay. Now Tom Ratchet's up next. Buddy Boy Ratchet. Oh, yeah. You. So, DF, if you still have us in your background, what's going on with your 3 and everything else you're doing? How are things? Ah, okay. What is actually left for that? Oh, wow. You've been working for a long fucking time on that. That's still a lot of work left to do, I guess. Have you decided what tileset you actually want to use for Temple of Todd, by the way? Is it going to be jungle or is it going to be ice? Icified jungle doodads. That sounds cool. Be like a frozen over Temple of Todd, dude. I'm sure whatever we end up making for that as far as terrain blends goes could be usable in other projects as well, so... Always misspell predilection. Predilection. Wah, 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 wah. By the way. Yeah, I mean, the biggest issue is, like, decide. Well, one of the things we would have to decide for that is, like, are we going to palette correct before or after we do all of the edits to make them icified, right? Because I think that if we took the jungle assets and we did icify them, we froze them over, I think that would look interesting just because it's like a very distinct feel, like the grass in jungle, the actual jungle tile in jungle, feels very different, and the doodads feel very different than what you actually have natively in the ice tile set. Oh, so you've got a lot of manual labor there. Manual pixel artistry. And you already got that one done? Pretty nice.
is a matter of belief, but we are certain that Satanism exists. To some, it's a religion. To others, it's the practice of evil in the devil's name.
Evil!
A Halloween fable. This is a real-life horror story.
Oh, man. The move was definitely... It took a lot out of me physically, I'll put it to you that way. And I did it all without any caffeine. I got a little bit in me before I started the stream, at least. Ice to water edges? Oh, okay. Ice to water seems like it'll be a little rough, no? Or what do you think? Like water, instead of blending with dirt, it would blend with ice? Maybe that's not as bad as I would think. You could probably just take the dirt tiles and mask it out. Unless you wanted to do more prolonged reconstruction of the stuff. What's up, V? Oh, okay. Gotcha. You. I'm smooching you. Right now I'm writing the descriptions for the the factions that you'll see in this first Zerg map. So I just did the Omega and Delta squadrons, and now I've got to do Rangers of Taldarin, and then I can circle back to do Zaz, Tulgroth, and Liragor. There you go, I remembered his name. Oro bo 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 bo. What does that even mean? How is that related? Is Bobo a Russian word or something? Oh, okay. Yeah, you vaguely described some preprocessor. I don't know what the actual. You sent me some like example code or something. I don't know what it would actually look like at the end, but how did you plan on hooking it into the game exactly? Or are you somehow like having an external program translate the code that we would write in that into ASC3 automatically? Means I have to actually learn coding SMH. Is there a way that you can visualize the chain, like what you're writing in that code? Could you somehow visualize the equivalent in ASC3? Like, could you say, like, you gave me an example of drones, basically, like wait, build, start, and all that. Would it be possible to say you type in the first bit that's in using the preprocessor, and then it spits out the equivalent in ASC3 for you, like live as you're writing it, basically? A live visualizer of whether or not the code is written correctly, basically. A nice way to catch all that. Because that would be a useful way to... It would basically be checking your code against a compiler, but you would at least be able to see if you had even written something close to what you actually wanted to, eventually. Well, I think it would be helpful for figuring out what you're actually writing if you're not familiar with it. It will also be useful for you as you're trying to figure out if this program has any bugs. Necessary. I'll be right back. I gotta go grab some water. Okay, I'm back. There we go. All right. So I was in the middle of writing for Ultramarine. I actually don't even remember where he was originally from. I don't really know where I even put him either. I think maybe maybe I have it on the Google Drive. I used to work on shit on the Drive before I moved everything over to the wikidot, so there's a chance I at least have a script or something. It's a very text-heavy production. I'm pretty sure the province was on the clock. I can see you on Mixer, UED. Yeah, it seems that there's no way to avoid the Protoss ass. There's always Andoranus, fucking ass, art anus. There's always some sort of anus. At least this one's just more straightforward and called ass. Trying to figure out how to phrase this. I was just looking for the province name that this guy was from, and I think Alnathok is it, but it could be something else. I'm gonna be changing the name, his, like, the characters, like, who he is anyway. Right now it's just a placeholder. Alright.
You'll be hearing things about blood sacrifice, death, occultic symbols, the upside-down cross, possession, distorted faces, darkness. All these things are involved in satanic worship.
Somebody AI upscaled a bunch of games, apparently. Though I really don't think it would be, I don't think it would go over particularly. Poor guys. What do you mean, shortcuts? Talking about keyboard shortcuts? I use them all the time.
Now pay attention again to the beat of the drums, and then listen as the song starts to tail off. You begin to hear screams in the background, which is a symbolism of people becoming possessed as it's being sung.
Don't think there's any reason for them. I probably wouldn't use them, but if you think they're going to be useful for you to write stuff, then obviously put them in. Like, when I say I don't think there's going to be a reason for them, I mean specifically for my use. Well, what exactly have you already done for functionality? Basically, what it sounds like is there's going to be a way to simulate an algorithmic approach. What is this? Oh. Not what I thought it was. Oh, okay, so I had already written some shit in here. I found the left bracket, right bracket shit. that I was talking about a while ago. So basically it would allow me to do something like this, where the text it would basically, the ASC3 it would churn out would be systemic resource checks that if the resources were over a certain amount, they would add more requests for certain units. And this would be rechecked every X amount of frames that you want it to be rechecked, which you would also be able to define in that. So what I really want out of this, more so than I want the wait build start automation for drones, because I can just copy paste that anyway, that's never been an issue for me to actually write, is the ability to deploy some algorithmic detection of number of resources available, number of production structures available, and for Zerg case it would be like larva count or something, as well as supply, and check all of this against the attacks, like whether or not they are attacking, and if they're attacking, then add however many Zerglings we can add depending on some built-in limitations like define max value, but also immediate limitations like how much money we have and how much supply we have and how much production we have. So, like in this particular case, if you have, like if you actually look at what I do here, right? The idea is that if there's greater than 10 ore and greater than 5 gas, and supply is greater than supply, the supply total is the total amount of supply we have is equal to or greater than supply used. It's probably not necessary to define this, but L would be like I don't remember why L was necessary, but is loop L number of times, and basically it would be half of the total money for ore and half of the total money for gas, and loop that many times. So the loop would have to be more. It would have to be less dumb, less limited. It would have to also include supply and larva. But stuff like this, this is what I would actually use something like that for. Something to determine the strength of the attack wave based on local variables like amount of money and amount of supply and amount of production. And then, based on how strong the attack force is then, I would also like some way to determine attack targets. Now, the targeting shit is completely impossible for default AI as far as I know, so I'm not really worried about that. But in this particular case, we would have, like, x equals 5, right? Because that's how many times... Where is x, anyway? Oh, the limitation of number of times it can loop is related to, like this. So you would define how many times you wanted to add 2 Zerglings and 1 Vorgeling. And so at max, it could add 10 Zerglings and 5 Vorgelings. And then at max for air, whatever the air loop would look like, it'd probably be like 2 mutas or something. So you get max, you would be able to add 6 depending on your shit, and then your target rand, and so on and so forth. Well, I don't know what you mean by that, because all you would have to do is pre-process. This is feasible to do in the ASC3. It's just retarded to try to do, right? So, like, if we actually were to do... We were to try doing this here. So, say we're doing this right now, right? So, what is this? Let's go to language. We're doing add melee. So in this case, what we're checking supply. So we would have to do something like resources of current player or divided by 10. So we would have to, I mean, in that case, you can't really do the total of 10 or whatever. Because my idea was that you take it and make it a more manageable number for that moment. But in this case, we'd be like resources, 13 at most. 75. because that's how much it would cost for 2 Zerglings and a Vorgeling. Or blank return. And then that'll return immediately if it doesn't have enough. And then it would say, there's no command for detecting free supply, I don't think. Let me see if it's even possible for supply to do that. Yeah, I don't think you wouldn't be able to compare the max and supply. So forget the supply thing in that case, because they can just automatically request that anyway. And we can, I guess, forget the stuff related to production. And we can just focus on the resources and the looping, because that's still useful. And then we have... And then in this case, it could be something like deaths 13 subtract 1 Z flag beacon blank deaths 13 exact 0 Z flag beacon blank return. We put that at the top, and then we go to add melee, and then this would be called in an AI scale. Call add melee, right? So we would probably want to do something like resources 13 at least 300 or blank, or something like that. Like 300 is a lot, right? So we could do like 250 at least weight, and then call add melee. So you could just do something like this, right? And then like in this case, all that we would have to do is, I mean, I could even use this in my shit now, right now, the system that I just developed here. Because all I would actually have to do in this particular case is I would just be like, in the, EXP rand ATK, I would do like deaths 13 add 1. So in this case, we would change set to add. And we would say, for every expansion, add 2 to Z flag beacon. So that each expansion can loop this 2 more times whenever it's added. So we would do like we would do like wait finish attack, I guess, and then go to EXP rand attacking true wait something like that. That would be a way to do it. So if you could somehow simplify what I've just come up with here to a system that works better, then we can play around with that. I don't even know if that system will work properly or if it'll be that useful, because the AI has to spend money on everything else. But at the very least, we can gauge how much money. If they're really low on money, they're not going to request too many workers, basically. I think at least weight checks every frame. But I'm not sure. I think there is a built-in delay of like I don't know how many frames, but some amount of frames before the NAI actually tries to satisfy a request, which might be a campaign limitation. I've actually thought about this recently, is that it might make sense to unstart campaign in Hydra's maps and in general if we're trying to make a more challenging AI. But that's not really something I'm going to experiment with anytime soon, I don't think. Like, the AI might be more competent. I think the campaign AI is deliberately handicapped, from what Nave said, in a few different areas. Whereas melee AI may be better for that. But the other issue is that it's not explored. We don't actually know if it works. So we also don't know what in our command list is not going to work or going to clash with melee AI. Yeah, I mean, from what I can tell, campaign AI is just deliberately neutered in some small ways. Oh, I wouldn't want that to be down to random chance. It's already kind of down to random chance as it stands anyway. I wonder if Unstart campaign... I wonder if melee AI in general like handles attack moving better as well. I haven't even looked into that at all. So like I said, it could be a fix for some of the problems that we see on edge cases. But I'm not sure. Might reduce the frame delay as well. Right. I think it makes sense to you have to do that. What's up, Head High? I think those are... I mean, they're serving a very different purpose. They're trying to compete with players and compete with... Well, I guess with the AI tournament, they're trying to compete with other AIs. But I'm trying to compete with players in a more... a much more, like... I guess a campaign-oriented environment, right? I do want my AIs to defeat players and stuff, but I think, unfortunately, the WAPI stuff is not really properly set up for what I need, or what I'm looking for anyway. Some things from them are actually useful to take and apply to campaign AI. The problem is just finding a way to make it compatible. One of the things we've recently started to work on is attack moving and like kiting a little bit. But we're making the AI pull units in that are adjacent to each other. So they pull units in groups back, as opposed to each individual unit, which I think is an improvement in terms of feeling like you're competing with an actual entity and not an AI bot, right? I mean, at the end of the day, you know it's an AI regardless, but I think that that's an example of something that will be better for my purposes, where I'm more focused on delivering an experience and really challenging the player, of course, but trying to keep things relatively fair as well. But for all I know, the final version of the AI that I end up working on is going to look very similar to the Wappy stuff. I don't actually know yet what I would take and what I would keep, and what I would add on top, and what I would, rework or whatever. Oh yeah? You! Enjoy your extra day off, dude.
You.
You.
Use.
You.
Use.
It's even better because nobody can even see the Mixer chat, so nobody knows it's you, ED Commander. Get your ears checked.
Is this your dog?
Mm-hmm. It is.
Oh boy, pizza.
No. I want pizza. I actually will probably be getting pizza. So take that.
Is that a fucking crow? Ah!
That is one of my favorite sound clips. That guy sounded so genuine. Could not believe it was a fucking crow. I forgot about that one. If somebody can find me that one, I'll put that on there too. I think he actually says "fuck you" though. That is pretty funny. Fuck you. Some sick shit. How do I write a sentence in the English language? I'm finding it very difficult. You gotta massively amplify the sound, yeah. Why are there? It's really funny to me that there's been so many Kakaru, whatever jokes. I still can't believe they named a character after a critter, though. Why did they do that? Why did Karak exist? Deserts of Karak. What are you talking about? In Starcraft 2, Legacy of Amon, Karax is named after Karax, the critters. It's literally one letter difference. It's an X instead of a K. It's the same fucking thing. Why did they do that? What's wrong with them? Explain this strange behavior. Leo? Is this some eldritch joke I'm not understanding? Oh. Means you, actually. I wonder what I should call, Huh. Like, what would you call... I think, support would be a good strain name for something like a Defiler or a Queen, right? So, support strain. Although this is actually I don't even think there were Karax in StarCraft 2, on Ire in StarCraft 2. I could be wrong about that. What I want to know is why they didn't bother with any of the Brood War or the vanilla critters. You notice that? I don't think I saw a single Rhinodon or Bengalas or Bagelas. None of them. They just don't exist in StarCraft 2. Ah, shit, I'm out of water again. Oh well. Bum, 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 bum. Oh yeah, I should probably get pizza at some point. Oh, I could understand that. In Starcraft 2, they just made it so that the critters run away from any unit, so... Pretty unfortunate, to be honest. Can't drive Karax to extinction. Do you remember the epic point in history, in Legacy of the Void, where a hybrid says, "Die in misery," or something, and Karax just says, "No, I will leave that to you." Wow. Wow. Epic script. He actually just says you, actually. Bye. Fucking. What a ridiculous script that game had. That's like the same level of insanity as when Kerrigan says, "I sense a powerful Zerg" in Heart of the Swarm, and Zeratul just goes, "Ah, the Ancient One," and just like he just says that. Like, you can't just say Ancient One, you stupid prophecy idiot. What's wrong with you? Alright, let's put some you and me, if you know what I mean. Uh-oh. Deep chamber. Alright, deep chamber it is, dude. Deep me. An enclosed virtual space for discovering the newest and deepest vibes across house and techno. Okay, buddy. What last micro mission? No. The one I'm talking about for Karax is when you have to use the moving platform that breaks with warp gates, where the warp gate graphic just fucking flies down as you the particles like don't align properly. So it's just that is sick. Oh man. Yeah. I agree, DF. It's actually hilarious. Like, when you were pointing out that, I think it was in the Hydra channel, or maybe it was in the Nemesis channel, you were pointing out that you think it's funny that Blizzard actually wrote him to be this special bus character. We didn't really have to do anything to make him an idiot. He already was such an idiot that it didn't matter. It's pretty good. I like that. Special book. The Special Bus Driving Manual. Pretty good. Alright, I gotta finish this paragraph and then I gotta go order the pizza and get an ETA on that. So. Let's see. Garm brewed. You brewed. Malwarebytes Premium. Thanks, you fucking virus. Add to dictionary. Gonna be doing that a lot. Borobudur. Borobudur. The fuck is Borobudur? Barabooter or Borobudur. 9th century Mahayana Buddhist temple in Magelang Regency. Probably Magalog or something. Great. I'm glad that was a suggestion for Ouroboros. Appreciate it, dude. Okay. Okay. Bing. I think in addition to making Zaz the information gathering cerebro, which I already kind of did by default when I was writing him for the first Zerg mission, it would also make sense for him to like. I could really show that in the first Terran mission as well, because you fight against him and Gorn and oh, do I even have a color for the I don't even have the other brood in here. I should end up throwing them in here at some point along with another Cerebrate name, but there's the olive Zerg that show up there. I suppose I could just have that be Arak, since Arak and Gorn often travel together, and I could change them over to silver pink as opposed to olive. But if I come up with a better difference between them, that's fine too. I think it might be better anyway, because Arak doesn't really show up in the Zerg campaign, so for Arak to show up instead in the Terran campaign, you would at least have some knowledge of what they were all about when it comes to that. So instead of yellow support, we could do silver pink. Is it Jormungand? Longest fucking name ever because of the color. What else do we get? Yeah, so I think that makes some sense. We can just say it's in TO1, TO2, TO5. It looks like that's that, right? So, okay. But anyway, I think having Zaz send early worker harassment type Zergling attacks to George and to Raynor in the first Terran mission, while Arak does its best to isolate the Magistrate's forces in the early game and sunken push into them. That would be, I think, a nice dichotomy there, and you can have obviously Gorn would be prioritizing in general the newcomers, which would be Raynor and Magistrate, while George is mostly dealing with getting attacked by Zaz. But we can figure out how the role disparity ends up breaking out, the role distribution ends up being solved. But I do think that making Zaz like the preliminary reconnaissance player will be interesting because you'll be accustomed to playing with that in the Zerg campaign, and I'm not going to replace Zaz with another Cerebro that does the same thing as an ally, right? Like, Daggeth will probably stay in its base for like the first minute or two of the game, if not longer, to really mass up a strike force, to try to do something decisive, and may pick a bad target if he doesn't have anything and he already scouted, which will really show where Daggeth relied on Zaz to some degree. Along with, obviously, the players themselves are going to know that just based on playing with Zaz for so long, up until the point where he died, right? So I think that'll be interesting. Just a nice way to differentiate the players, because most players don't do those early rushes, don't do the information gathering, don't do the scouting very much. So having one or two in each race in general that to do that in different ways, like maybe there could be one player that rushes to Comsat in the Terran's side and gets Comsats early in their expansions as well, with the intent of scouting out for their allies, could be interesting, because you'll play with and against many of the players. The factions that you see listed here will be both friend and foe in some ways. Some of them are strictly enemies, like the Confederate forces, but others are like, Zaz is your enemy in the Terran campaign, and then your ally, and I guess eventually his brood is your enemy in the Zerg campaign. So I think it's a nice way to combine that, where you experience it from multiple sort of angles. So. Alright. You can save that. And that's a little bit more fleshed out now. I was thinking I would also have some time to write some write-ups about the player characters, the Angerboda and the Iron Vidus, but I may not have time. Depends on what happens after this phone call. But I'm going to make the phone call, and then I will be back. And we'll probably just write some AI or something. BRB? Alrighty, we're back.
Hey, man.
Oh, what's up, Bailiff? Welcome! Welcome to the maiden voyage of our new digs. Today's gonna be a short one. Anyway, I gotta bail in about 10 minutes to go get some food, and after that I'll probably be eating that food. So it doesn't make any sense for me to take an extended leave. But while we were here today, we filled in information on the Garmbrood, on Omega and Delta Squadron, on Rangers of Taldarin, and we also were able to throw in the composition and key units for the 2 player broods in the Zerg map. So that's cool. How do I like the new place? It's pretty nice. So basically what happened is, it's just another family house, so it's not like a new place with brand new people. But the housemates here, including my brother, way more tolerable, way more dealable, way more social even than the other people. Like, occasionally I would get wrapped up in conversation with some of the people at my other place, the old place that I was at, up until earlier today. Basically what would happen is I would just, like, they would come in and talk to me about shit. Just nothing. Like, nothing that they were here to talk to me about was really going to be important, or they're, like, famous for saying, hey, I got this idea and I'm gonna do this. Could you help me with it? And I say, yeah, okay. When the time comes, just let me know. And I never hear back from them again. So what is the point of even telling me about it in the first place if you're never going to do it? Like, that's a very commonplace thing in this family in general, in that side of the family anyway, my father's side. So like they would talk to me for like 20 minutes, going in depth with their plans, and then that would be the last time I ever hear about it again. So it's 20 minutes of my life that I sacrificed to listen to your plan that you're never going to talk to me about again. And I know you're never going to talk to me about it again because it's happened so many times. So why are you telling me now? I just try to like escape from that conversation as much as possible. But the people here are way better in that. People here are like just people I actually like to be around. So people I willfully made myself available for and tried to be around as much as possible in the first place. So pretty nice that I get to do that. It's actually a net improvement. The only thing that you could construe as like negative, well, there's 2 things, right? One of them is it's definitely going to be more pricey, but I can handle that. That's not that big of a deal. Just means I'll have to find some other way to supplement my income. But the other thing that's kind of difficult, right, is I'm accustomed to having my own corner of the house and being able to just be loud as fuck whenever and not really care about anything else. And even potentially, like, lately I've been going to bed at like 10 p.m., waking up at 6 a.m. And that's really good for this house's schedule too, because it's basically the same schedule as everybody else here, which is nice. Because if I can keep that synchronized, then there's no problems. But if that ever gets thrown off and I'm up until like 2 a.m. or something, I have to be super quiet because everybody else is asleep, and I'm not used to that. I'm also not used to just in general not being a noisy motherfucker. So I think even in my normal streams, if there are other people home at the time, I'm probably going to have to be a little bit quieter. So I'm not sure how that'll work out in general. It's usually there's nothing for me to even yell about in the Hydra streams. But if I'm in the middle of doing something like in Black Mesa, I will be shouting quite a bit because there's so much to yell about in that game, as an example. So that's going to be one of those things that I've got to figure out, right? So yeah, there's gonna be some things that I gotta adjustment periods. Yeah, I might not ever be able to play another Sonic game again. Real big shame. No, I mean, most of the time people here are they're in their own head anyway, right? They're doing their own thing. Then there's going to be times where I'm not streaming and they're not doing anything. They will just be hanging out as a family anyway, so it's not that big of a deal. I'm a fan. I think it'll be fun. I'm not worried about it at all. So it's pretty cool. Yeah, it's I like it. It's just a better facility in general to be in. I haven't fixed my mic stand. That broke, so I'm either going to have to get a new one or fix the one that I have. But I haven't fixed that yet. That's going to need some tweaking. Hopefully when I fix that, I'll be able to properly test out how the acoustics in this room are. I'm definitely going to need to put something right in front of me, like egg cartons or some other like cardboard or something to try to noise proof that area, because right in front of me is like a flat wall, and I don't know what it's painted with, but it's definitely like very, very reverb heavy. And so ideally I'd be able to line the whole thing with that stuff, but I don't know how likely that is. Just gonna have to save all my fucking egg cartons, I guess. But what else do I got? Yeah, no, it's just a nice place. I actually have plumbing now. I don't have to take a walk halfway across town to take a shit. That was a real thing that I had to do for like months. So that's nice. And yeah, it's better for my mental state. I think I'll be happier. Nobody here smokes, so that's great because like cigarette stink was everywhere in the other house. So it's really nice to not have to deal with that. What else? Yeah, it's just like pretty much everything is better. I have to figure out some way to cover the bills, but I definitely can't do in my current state. And I have to probably sacrifice some yelling now and then. But I think my productivity should remain relatively stable as far as that's concerned. I don't think there's any issues there. So yeah, I'm actually really looking forward to getting through the adaptation phase and figuring everything else out as time goes on, and then moving away from that into, whatever else needs to be done. Like once I'm really stuck in and I've done the adaptation, I'm looking to just get back to what we were doing before, where I was being really productive. Because before I was being really productive in spite of all the other nonsense I had to go through in my day-to-day life. Now I should be able to be theoretically even more productive, or in the very least have a better, healthier mental state and hopefully healthier physical state as well. And also still be at least as productive, if not more productive, right? So that's what I'm hoping for anyway. But yeah, I'm excited about it. An example of, I think, Vic, you sent that when I was talking about those insane stories I'd be told, or plans. The most recent one was very interesting. It was somebody was saying that they were thinking about when they moved to their new place, they wanted to basically become a pimp, but not for actual prostitution. They wanted to do that for cam girls, and they were like, yeah, I was thinking of getting, I don't know what internet plan is better for that. Should I get Verizon or Comcast for that? It's like, okay, there's not a fucking chance in hell that you end up doing this, man. Come on. Oh, no. So I don't know, man. Just the idea that he was actually going to go for that. But he made sure to talk to me about it for 20 minutes. And that happened 2 days ago, I think. So... Well, no kidding, but apparently they were like, I don't know, man. That guy lives in his own fantasy realm. He's living his own movie. We'll put it to you that way. What a fucking mess. So anyway, I don't have that much longer before my brother and I go take a walk to get that pizza, so... probably can't do too much here. But I'm glad that I at least came on the stream and got a little bit of work done on the wikidot and futzed around with this map just looking at it. The one thing that I think is important for whenever we do this, right, is I do want to try and see what the priority changes are like for Zaz by comparison. Let's just fire the map up and test whatever I had most recently. We can give it a run through. Holy 1 gigabyte log file, by the way. Alright. Let's just see how that is. We'll see what we can do. Just take a look at the priorities and performance and all that stuff. It's kind of slow on some of his stuff in general. I think the biggest issue is them training drones, right? I think I should probably have a drone breakpoint in the train Zergling block. It'd be like bring jump 13, at least weight 12 drone or something. Or I guess in this particular case, we could just make a weight build 12 drone. But that should probably help it so that none of its early larvae goes into Zerglings before it at least hits 12 drones. Although, I don't know, that might not really be super well advised. We'll see. The thing is, now Ultramarine actually takes in 6 Zealots with its attack force. But still, three Sunkens at that point, it should be more than enough. Although, of course, he morphs the other one into a fucking Sunken like an idiot. So this one's going to be a Spore, probably. There's going to be 2 Spores back-to-back eventually. Just how it is. Oops. I still haven't been annihilated yet, which is notable. But don't worry. That'll be taken care of eventually. Holy fuck. Dude, the number of Marine Scarlet Trains is psychotic. Anyway, here's the 4 tanks. Bye. That 4-tank timing with +1 weapons is going to be pretty psycho when that ends up... if that ends up really sticking, that'll be something nice. Yeah, I don't know what the hell was going on with that, but... Bye. Man, I wish I could fix tanks. I wish I could fix AI tanks. They bug out so much. Something will exit their range, they'll never attack again. One unit is attacking it, like a drone or a Zergling, they will never unsiege to kill it. SMH. Meanwhile, Redwood is forever cucked. We really just need to uncuck Zerg. Like, I'm not having any problems with Protoss or Terran anymore. Like, obviously there's some issues, especially rebuilding. But look, they're actually attacking and stuff. Like, they're doing stuff, man. This guy's got 1-1 already. It's 10 minutes in. He's got 1-1, and he's got, hopefully something on the way for upgrades. No, never mind. He's busted, but, like, okay. He is a little broken, but he's at least building units and expanding and shit and rebuilding if they get attacked. And presumably this guy will too eventually. It's just so weird that we get this problem. Like, at least Zaz is building units, right? Like, this guy's not building units. So I don't know why he's not building units, but he's not. What a disaster. But, you know, you get somewhat large armies here. Like, that's how it should be. Only time fucking Redwood ever builds units is when he's actually under attack, of course. Meanwhile, you've got this giant army. Zaz is kept pretty low in money this whole time, right? There's a pretty considerable army here. He's going to do some damage. He wiped out all of the probes. He might even kill this Nexus. We'll have to wait and see. He's got enough Dragoons that he should be able to deal with this counter-assault, right? And yeah, the Nexus is going down. Like, that's a good attack. I like that. Probably could have controlled his units better. Probably didn't need to suicide half his mutas into this area. And probably could have picked off some more shit, like a Forge. Try to pick off the Reaver instead of all the ground units flying away like an idiot. Okay, bye. He may not kill this assimilator. Epic. There you go. He did it. And eventually... Oh, never mind. Meanwhile, Sienna destroyed him. Like, okay, he's building units. Now he's floating 1.2k, right? So he's got a lot of shit. But come on. Something is happening here. Meanwhile, how many Marines can I fit in my attack force? Like, that's the thing, though. Like, even Scarlet's a man. Even Scarlet's not an idiot. As much of an idiot. Dude, Scarlet's building so many supply depots everywhere. He's a man. Look at this shit. Nuke. No nuclear silo here. Very sad. Like, the fucking Confederates are working, but the Zerg are barely working. They certainly aren't rebuilding very well. They only rebuild in times of great vacancy in their... Oh, there's the freeze. It's just so crazy to me that this happens, right? Like, why? Why? And the real puzzling thing is why it works, like why Zaz builds units and why Renegades, I'm so used to them being Renegades because they're Redwood. Why Redwood doesn't. What the fuck is up with that? So yeah, there's some shit we gotta figure out, right? So. I think we will figure it out. I just had to update the schedule a little bit for streams. Yeah, that's just for Cordovan because I haven't even started his AI script yet. I like to do that sometimes. I like to do that to myself. Just be like, yeah, I gotta do everything. Bye. Anyway, even though we didn't really get that much done on this stream, I could still say I did the daily streams. I managed to do that even despite the fact that I moved a bunch of shit and shoveled a bunch of shit and all that stuff. All the stuff that comes with that. I have a bed. It's set up. I can go to sleep. I gotta unload all my clothes at some point, probably later today. I'll do some of them anyway and get them back in the drawers. But all my shit's here pretty much. I just have to go get my blender and some other small stuff that I left over there. And that's good, man. That is worth something. And I was able to stream and get a little bit of work done today. A little bit, tiny bit, but it still counts. So, bottom line is productivity can still happen. Tomorrow the stream, I put in noon my time, but it might be earlier. I have an appointment to go to at 9:30, which is usually when I start streaming. So I have to go there. I probably won't be there that long, but just in case it goes over, I wanted to be aware of I want to be, I have enough time to get back without like ruining any plans, right? So at best, you'll see it earlier than that, and if not, then it'll start at 12. I see no reason why it would take that long. But yeah, we will definitely be back tomorrow. We will definitely be a bit more productive, a little bit more like steady, and be able to do more. Hopefully I'll fix the webcam. Hopefully I'll have fixed the microphone by then as well. But we will see. And other than that, what else is there to plan for? I would like to stream some Black Mesa tomorrow. I don't think we'll be able to finish it per se, but I don't remember how close we are to the end. And apparently there's going to be a patch coming in 3 days, according to Don, that will bring the final Zen levels or something like that. So unless I misread what he wrote earlier, we could be looking at even more content, which I shudder to think about, of course. But I had some thoughts about Black Mesa yesterday. I think if I take it a certain way, right, I can consider it like a game where the developers are still taking feedback, and maybe they can't use all my feedback to improve this project because it's too far away from, like, they're already so close to having it be completely done or whatever. But maybe they can use this feedback that I can offer them to improve their next projects. And so what I'm probably going to advise them to do is to just continue working on it the way that they are and try to make it feature complete or whatever, as they've already decided to do. But maybe think about some of the things that I said when it comes to analyzing stuff after the fact and trying to look into that stuff. And I think the review, I can make it more like my review is speaking to them directly, which is sort of how I try to tackle the custom campaign reviews as well. So I think it'll actually be the review itself will have, hopefully anyway, more educational value than the playthrough has had so far, where it's really just me screaming. There's a little bit of educational value there where, like, I explained, some elements of lighting and how it's really important to get that stuff down, and just like opening people's eyes to that. But for the most part, it's like who knows how much of my feedback, my comments, my bug reports or whatever, especially the visual stuff, who knows how much of that is a limitation of Source as an engine, or a limitation of something that the developers didn't really have a reasonable amount of control over. Like, ideally, they would be able to fix some stuff, but it would almost be like expecting me as a Starcraft modder to add widescreen support or fix the fact that there's so much focus on palettes, like the game requires palettes. Like, there's not really a reasonable amount of work that I would have. Like, it would be a very unreasonable amount of work for me to have to do in order to do something like that, right? So that's sort of how I try to understand that content, their content in general. I try to look at it that way, because that's a way where I can sympathize with them, because there's certain things that are really, really bad about StarCraft as an engine, and I really wish I didn't have to put up with those limitations, but I do. So I'm going to go over that in more depth later on, but just something to mull over while you wait for the next Black Mesa stream if you're watching that and you're interested. And since I know that the devs are actually interested in feedback to some degree, and Don did say he was going to send them my playthroughs, I'll probably spend some time talking about less graphical related bugs, because apparently those could be anything. Those could be hardware inconsistencies. Surely they have a responsibility to test for that stuff. But the fact that the bugs exist, who knows? Like, there's only so many times I can remind them about those bugs existing, to the point where it's useful. But anyway, I'll try to talk a little bit more about level design and enemy design and guns and stuff like that, and what makes an FPS more exciting to me, or what makes an FPS fun, or whatever. So hopefully that will be a bit more interesting as far as content goes, commentary goes. Anyway, it's pizza time. So if I can get one more, oh boy, pizza to play us on out of here, that would be great. Mwah!
Oh boy, pizza.
Rest in pizza, Tony!
Bye!